It's so people, other people can see it at home.
Machna International.
Yeah, why not? Farbrengen today night is a request from the Rebbe to Farbrengen in honor of his father. This is part of the Kibbud Av that the Rebbe had. He asked, the Rebbe wrote in a letter that he has the schus and chayva. He has a merit and an obligation to ask to Farbrengen in that day, say from the Torah from Lubavitch, and speak about him. I'll start with a short word from Lubavitch, something connected to our parsha. Our parsha speaks about giving tzedakah. The pasuk says, "Ki becha evyayin open your hand and help the poor." So about tzedakah, it says the Zohar on the pasuk, tzedakah tatzil mimoves, tzedakah will save from death. So Rabbi Yossi says that means who will save from that? That to the ones who are mishtadle be'iraisa, they're trying in learning Torah, and he says, with tzedakah tatzil mimoves, this is tzedakah mamesh, and in trei gvanim ubitrein sitrin, two colors, and two ways. So it means that, in simple words, that tzedakah tatzil mimaves, the tzedakah saves from that to the ones who are trying in Torah, and to the ones who are giving tzedakah in two ways, two colors and two ways, two sides. Train gvanim and train sitrin. So the Lubavitch explains that in the pasuk tzedakah tatzil mimaves, we find the word maves twice. The first is open, tzedakah tatzil mimaves, and the second time, if you take the Rosh Tevis tzedakah tatzil mimaves, vav, tof, mem, you find again the word maves. Tzedakah tatzil mimaves, vav, tof, mem. So we have twice the word maves. Because as Shalom, there is the two ways, two abilities of death. The first is that when the body leaves the physical world, and the second explains this is the death of the neshama in the coming world. That's why it says in the Torah, sometimes we find in the Torah moisumas and moistumas, ikoris tikoris, and so that's like a double way of death. So he explains that through learning Torah, as he said, the Zohar says, the mishtadle be'iraisa, the trying, learning Torah, and through giving tzedakah, as the pasuk says, tzedakah tatzil mimaves, through these two things saves the person from two ways of death, the two levels of death, double death that I mentioned before. Because also by learning Torah and by giving tzedakah, there's two levels. First, there's a learning Torah in a regular way. You say that it mentions in Tanya brings and a person learns regilusoi, the way he's used to, and then there is yoisem regilusoi. And shoyne pirkoi mea pamim, shoyne pirkoi mea ve'achad pamim. And also in tzedakah, is the way the person gives zakah, what is has to give, and what he feels he can give. That's one level. The second level is when a person gives more than he feels that he has to. As a poor person comes to him and he asks him for tzedakah, and he gives even more than he was planning on giving, and more he feels that he can give. So we see there's two levels of learning and two levels of giving tzedakah. So Lubavitch explains that this is what the Zohar says. Tzedakah tatzil mimaves ubetrein gvanin, train sitrin, that tzedakah saves from death in two colors and the two sides. So he explains that two gvanim means that what's the color? Color is something that you see it physical. You see it. It's open. And sitrin is a way. Sitrin means tzedadin. Tzedadin is something which is not so you don't understand. Like you say, two sides. It's something that you see or you don't see. It's not something that you can visualize or you can point at. So there's a way of learning Torah and giving tzedakah in a way of gvanim, colors that you see. Something that's connected to the goof, and you can understand it. Usual way of learning, like he's used to, and giving tzedakah naturally. That's what you know you have to give, you feel you have to give. And there's also learning Torah and giving tzedakah in a way of sitrin, it's an element, in a hidden way. It's above your abilities, above your usual way. So we have to learn Torah, not only in the regular way that we're used to, also above that we're used to, and also giving tzedakah. It's more and beyond what we can give, what we think we can give, and we used to give. And through these two ways, through two colors and two sides, we're saved from the two kinds of death, Rahman al-Islam, inside the Goloi, the real way, inside the Nelam, the hidden way. This is like short word from
way of death. Hidden way of death.
That's what we don't know. That's like it says in the second level of death. It says the neshama. It's not something that we can point on it. We know how is it. So this is the two kinds of mothers that I mentioned before. This, the from the goof, and one's a ruchnius, the neshama. Death of the neshama. You don't know what's when is it? How is it? That sure thing. I mean, for sure, explain it.
Forever.
Huh?
Neshama eternal.
So that's what does it mean? The death of the neshama. It's not something that we can point on it.
So it's going down a level is the idea of death. So it's to stop existing, you just have to read it.
To look more inside the. Anyway, that's
it's a life.
Huh?
Relates to L'chaim.
Yeah. It's not, said it's from the Parsha, giving the tzedakah, tatzim, the learning. We're going to be saved with learning Torah and with giving tzedakah. The Rebbe said, giving tzedakah, it's not only literally giving tzedakah, it's helping a Jew in any way. Helping in learning is also giving tzedakah. And we should do both opposite ways.
Came in style in the last 2 years.
Chaim, Chaim. Just want to say one thing before or after that. For me to Farbrengen Chof or Farbrengen for the crowd is not a usual thing, and I'm not I'm taking only the schus I have that my name is Lubavitch. So, and
you hail from that part of the world.
Yeah, and the more, besides that, I have the schus that my father had a schus that the Rebbe told him to do the mafteches of his father's sforim. It's called mafteches of the Kutel Yitzchak. That all the sforim was exactly 50 years ago. After the Sforim from the Yitzchak were published, so he told my father to do Maftechet. Maftechet means index. So I was born not long after my father finished that, so probably because my father was so into the Torah of Rebbe Yitzchak, so he named his son for Rebbe Yitzchak. So, and on Tovshin Lamed Dalet, 74. So it was Farbrengen Chof. Today, and my father was there, and at the Farbrengen, the Rebbe said that the people who helped his father should come up and say L'chaim. So different people who knew him was different stages. They were connected to Rebbe Yitzchak. Father was also my great uncle, David Raskin, who was with his family. They helped him. We'll speak soon about it. Came up and said L'chaim, and then the Rebbe said, the one who did the mafteches should also come and say L'chaim. So somehow my father, the Rebbe connected my father to the whole thing of helping his father. I never studied this sefer, because to study this sefer you need to open all the sforim from Levi Yitzchak. But I heard from people who the Yalton said it became a trend last 10 years or more. Like people learn the sforim from Levi Yitzchak. The Rebbe wanted, and every week comes out like a few kinds of Hebrew in English, and like on the parsha from Yitzchak. But someone who is working on it, he told me that without the sefer of my father, he wouldn't be able to find his like a GPS, like navigate the thing, because he opened the Torah from Levi. So it's speech for his chus. I'm sure tonight my father is also participating in the Farbrengen with the Rebbe Yitzchak, and should be for his chus for him, for us, for everybody. Just know, the Rebbe mentioned a few times that the Torah that we have from Rebbe Yitzchak is only from the time that he was in exile. The few volumes that we have, 4 volumes of Torah's Levitzot, Kutel Levitzot, on Zoyar, on Gemara, on Tanya. It's all from the time that he was in exile, and this is from the ink that Rabbi Tzimchana prepared with Mesiras Nefesh, and he wrote on the edges from the Sforim. That's what we have, 4 volumes. You can imagine how much more was before. and the Rebbe asked a few times if we can find the manuscripts. And they had a lot of manuscripts when he was in Yekaterinov in his hometown. It was all taken by the KGB. Came to arrest them, and the Rebbe said that one day we should find it in Mitzvah. So we still hope and to find it. And you can imagine how much more Torah with that, because the Lubavitch Bechali was like Kamayon Anivea, like a spring, flowing spring, like whatever he was able to talk and speak, and it didn't matter who sat in front of him, was learned people or not. He sometimes tried hard to bring it lower to the people, but he did it, and he did it until his last days. He was able to speak. He was talking about he was saying things and explaining things in Torah and Zohar and all the things. So whatever we have from his Torah, so it's all from this time of Golus. You can imagine he was with no books, and he was writing. You can see over there like things that like you can find something like similar in the Rebbe's Rishimas when the Rebbe was traveling and he was running away from the Nazis, and he also wrote Rishimas and things that you can't imagine, like how a person in such a time can write. First of all, sit down and write, but also write when you don't have any books and you write, but everything which says in many places, like we don't have even the books. So, but to know how did it get Bechal? Levitzchok was born in Tofresh Lamed Ches, means 1878. He was born. His father was great grandson of the Tzemach Tzedek. Yitzchak was born to a family of the Einikla from the Tzemach Tzedek, and as an Einikul he also got the title from the Tzemach Tzedek got, which was honorable resident. Ezra Chnichbad L'Dereisov. That's written also in the birth certificates. When you see later they found that
was the Tsarist Russia. That was communist.
But you see also, but the birth certificate of the books of the community in Nikolaev, where you see the Rebbe was born and his brothers. It's mentioned that this is Schneerson, who is his parents, and it writes over there Ezra Chnichbad L'Dores, like they have the title. Even when the Rebbe was born, but still they wrote about him this. So he was from
where did that start? The Alter Rebbe?
The Tzemach Tzedek.
Tzemach Tzedek was the first one to get that?
Yeah.
How did he get it?
How did he get it? He helped helping them, like settling helping settlers, even from or even from the Mittel Rebbe started it. I think who got it was the Tzemach Tzedek.
Shadrin. Once he settled Shadrin.
Which Shadrin or the Mittel Rebbe? Okay, the Mittel Rebbe started from first colonies, the settlings, and then the Tzemach Tzedek did the Shadrin. Okay, so he was born to a family from the Rebbeim, but his father wasn't not a Rebbe, but he was. Then later on, he married to the family of Yanovsky. His Shver, the Meir Shlomo, was the Rav of Nikolaev. Then there he lived for a couple of years, like 10 years. The Rebbe was born there, and later on he got the position of the Rav of Yekaterinoslav, which later became Dnipropetrovsk, Dnipro today. How did he get the thing? Was the Rebbe Shmosei and the Rebbe Rashab helped getting, was for two sides in the city, and the Rebbe pushed that he should get the position. He was very well connected to the Rebbe Rashab, and he used to travel to the Rebbe Rashab for Yom Tovim, Shavuos, and some other times. And the Rebbe Rashab was calling him for different sifis. They were like they needed his. Even when he was younger, he used to come and was called for the Rebbe Rashab. He was very mekusha to the Rebbe Rashab. It's interesting that he never took the Rebbe to Lubavitch to visit the Rebbe Rashab. Why? I don't know, but I don't know. Only when I was young, I was saying that maybe it was like Alter Rebbe didn't go to the Baal Shem Tov. He was connected to the Magid, so the Rebbe was connected. But this is all like people said. We don't know what's the
speculation.
Yeah, speculations. But that was the fact that he was very connected. We know that when the Rebbe was born, he got 7 telegrams in the first day and in the following days from the Rebbe Rashab, what to do, how to deal with the Rebbe, and so he was very connected and to the Rebbe Rashab. And he was a Rav in Yekaterinoslav. He was very very strong in his rabbinical position. From one side he was very tough, and from the other side he was very kind and trying to help all the different people. Now, it was last night we spoke that heard that even on
Non-Jews.
I'm talking about the Jews that weren't so much observant, or for certain reasons they couldn't be, like on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, he used to make an early minyan in shul for the people who wanted to come to daven, but they needed to go to work. So from one side he was very strong and tough in Yiddishkeit, and he didn't let go for any corners. But if a Jew needed to come and daven in shul, even in such a holy day, he helped them to do the minyan. Like you have people like this black and white. If you don't come to if you don't keep Yom Tov, so you're totally not you're worthless. No, he saw to the depth of the Jews that they wanted to come down, but they couldn't do it. So he did minyanim for them. But he had certain people he had over there like oppositions, and so I think that Rabbi Tzimchana writes once that was misnaget in town. He was trying to tease Rabbi Yitzchak and told him why does David HaMelech say every day, say Tachlan, Shomer Nafshi ki Chosidoni, because a Chosid needs a special protection. So he said, so he told them that not a Chosid needs a special, only because he's a Chosid he can get protected. But if you're not a Chosid, any protection would not help him. He was giving back the guy who was trying to tease him. But he was very, very tough in his rabbinical duty, but because of that, later on, when the communist regime started to look after the Rabbonim, so they looked after him and they wanted him to do less that he was doing. But he was always giving in his speeches, he was talking how strong we have to be and how we have to mechanech the kids in the true way and not giving attention to any side winds that are bothering us. We have to stay strong. And we saw in the video last night on Machal, the Rebbe spoke many times about the mysterious nefesh that he had, that even later on that they asked him to do certain things, to sign for the government, and so he didn't even when he knew that he's in danger. One story that I've repeated, I think more than once, about the matzahs, that he was asked by the high authorities to give a hechsher for the matzahs, but he wouldn't give it. Because
without his hashgacha.
Because if he doesn't have his mashgiach there, so he's not going to give. There's another story about hashgacha for Pesach to show how he was so careful of giving hashgacha. As hashgacha for sugar. What can be wrong in sugar? It has to be kosher Pesach. So you have to watch how does the factory works. So you take the strings, whatever.
Sugar cane.
The cane,
yeah.
and you make it into water, and then it becomes. Someone was going and said everything looks okay, but whatever all the processing, he went to the place, and he was watching to see how the whole process is going. And what happened? He saw that one of the places where they went down the pipe was a guy standing on top, and he had a loaf of bread. While the sugar was pouring down, he put the loaf of bread, just to get a taste, sweet taste, like the sugar was pouring down, and he just dipped the bread in the sugar. So then he said, whatever, okay, no more. There's no hashgacha over here, no kosher Pesach. If he wouldn't go and look for it, like every person, what can be already? So he was so machmir, like to watch the whole process. In 1939, he was arrested, and the way he writes in his Rishima, he went to Kharkov and to
Chile.
No, still in Ukraine. He was in Kiev. He writes all different stops that he had on the way, and it's interesting to read. You can take it to the Lubavitch, read. There's a Rishima that he writes what was the steps of his arrest till the guy came to the goals, and he writes different things, which train did he go, which number, and which number of wagon of wagon that and he did gematrias, what it has to do, and it's fascinating to read the whole thing, how he takes everything and translates to Kabbalah. Then he got to Kazakhstan. The village was called Chile. In the beginning, the Rebbe Tzimchana was looking for him. She went to give him packages. She didn't know if he got to him, didn't get to him, and a lot of times they just used to take the packages and never give it to the person. But then later on, when she found that he was sent to Kazakhstan, so she took a train and she went there too. Although she was a free person, but she went together with him to Golus, and the way she describes which place he was, like not the civilization didn't get to it. It was totally uncivilized. It's even a low statement because it was totally dangerous for a person to live there. Even like the way it was muddy and all the
insects,
and the people got sick, and that's the mice. That's how he got sick later.
What was it that he passed away from?
Passed away from Yanamata. So he was there for I think 2 years or 3 years. I have to look again. And he was there. There were later on there were Jews that found out that he was there. One of the people was Aryeh Leib Kaplan. He was sent also into this Seder of the Kaplans. Didn't come from a Chassidish mishpacha, but he was there. He was a Rov, and he found them, and he helped them with getting bread. He was standing in line, and he was bringing them what it was. He helped wherever he could. He was there for a long time, and now it comes like the part that I've heard already. As I was a child from my grandmother, my family was. Her family was involved in that. Her family came to Kazakhstan in 1942. They ran away from Leningrad, went to Asia till they got to Kazakhstan. They went to Uzbekistan and then to Kazakhstan. When they were in Almaty, they came to the city Almaty. Then they heard that the Yitzchak is there. It was winter 1944. They were there already for 2 years, and my grandmother was in winter. She got sick and she was in the hospital. While she was in the hospital, she met a Jewish young lady who came originally from Yekaterinburg, from the city of Rebbe Yitzchak. And she knew about him. She didn't know him personally, but she heard that he's in Kazakhstan also, in exile. After they went out from the hospital, came out, she continued to be friendly with my grandmother, and she used to come to the house, come for Kiddush Friday night, and she came to the house, and she was a judge in a local court. And one day she comes, it was like later on in winter, and she told them that there's came out
Ruling?
a rule, yeah.
A ruling.
A ruling.
Decree?
No, a ruling. Originally, when a person sits 5 years, after 5 years, he's allowed to go back to the family. Like the goal is over. What happened that this was 1944, was in the middle of the war. So a rule came out that, which she got already, that because of the war, so people are still sitting till things settle down. But she said that to Chile, it's not going to come for. It takes time. It's not going to get there so fast. The message. So we. If you want to save the Yitzchak, we should do things fast and do whatever we need, bribe whatever we need, and get them out before the message comes there. So she was telling it in the house. So my grandmother's father, my grandfather, like right away started to. He met a few Chassidim, and he told them they need to first of all collect money in order to bring them. First, have to make connections with people who have the ability to write the liberation, like the
Papers of freedom.
The papers of freedom. But the papers of freedom need to be signed, not tomorrow's date, like with a back date. That's because that means that they got it before the rule came out.
What, the rule was shortening everybody's?
So lengthy.
No, lengthy.
But because of the war, everyone has to stay put, not let out.
Till because of the war.
It was a 5-year sentence, and then it said.
So his time was coming to the end, but because of the war, he could have stay longer. So they bribed whoever they needed to. It was a big mysterious nefesh. And then they sent a young lady named Batsheva Altois, and she traveled to Chile, and she gave all the papers whoever needed to give. She was a big danger for her to go with the papers, with the money, whatever.
Is it a woman?
Huh? A woman. Huh? Yeah.
Why?
Probably less of
Suspicion,
yeah. And she got them out. It was Pesach time, 1944. Then after Pesach, he came together with Rabbi Tzachana to Almaty. Came to Almaty, the Chassidim prepared for them a house already, not like they had over there a room, and started to make a minyan. And people used to come and to daven and
They had a Torah there?
Huh?
They had a Torah there?
Yeah. It was a small community, but so he was coming to shul in the beginning. He was going to the shul to daven. Later on, they needed to do like a hidden place, but they used to come and together and daven every Shabbos and used to give speeches. And over there also, he continued to tell whatever needs to be told to people, how to give the right chinuch. And he wasn't afraid of anything, even though they knew that the people watching them all the time. About a month so later, after he came, they realized that he got sick already over there. But as I heard, like because of he was so like stressed out. We told the situation that it was. So he didn't feel it. So, but when he came to a menucha v'lanachla, it's a common place, then the illness came out very strong, and they were calling doctors. They called the big doctors, but the doctors, the mice, they didn't give anything. They used to give him like sweet water because they realized that they can't help anything because there's no medicine that could have.
Placebo.
It just made him feel less the pain, and then then for like it went down and down. For in the beginning, he still used to go out for a walk around the city. I remember my grandmother was telling me that she saw him in the street. He was wearing his rabbanish hat. She said, I think it was a hoppet, and people used to stop in the street, go on to the side when he was walking. Well, he had such a nice presence. The spawning was so nice, and they were like stopping and looking at him. You can imagine how was he before he got really sick. It's interesting thing that the Rebbe got the picture of his father. The famous picture was till the 90s. It was a picture of looks very like then we didn't know before. If you remember, the picture was like a picture of an old man, and later on it came out
on our poster tonight.
No. That's a new picture. This is the picture came out in 1991. Before that, I don't know if there's. I don't think there's the Lubavitch here, but there's two pictures. So the Rebbe got these pictures in the 70s. And the Rebbe got this picture. He wrote on the back of the picture 4 letters: Aleph Aleph Zayin Lamed ? Adoni Ovi Zal ? He got the picture. Said, like in other words, is this my father? They couldn't recognize him. After the new picture, the old picture, the picture from before, like when he got arrested, came out, you see, like you can't compare these two pictures and to say that this is the same person, because he was 66-year-old, and that picture looks 80 plus, like very sick and very like old. So that's how you. One of the things that I heard from the family that when it was later in the last few weeks, he needed more help physically in the house, and they used to come help him put on tefillin, and maybe it was the last 2 weeks, something like that. But you saw his chumras, whatever it was, not chumras, whatever it was. He was keeping to the dot of the Shulchan Aruch till the last days he was able to, because of the illness. So the head shrunk, and he needed to fix the kesher from the shorosh. And a few times he asked him, when Seder used to fix the kesher, make it smaller, and then he was touching and make sure that the youth in the back should be on the place, and he was like showing them like very strong, like make sure this is in the place. It means like I remember as a child, it has to be above the bone, a little over the like the all. Like make sure it should be here and here in the front. Every day he was like very conscious it should be in time, even though it was like he wasn't able to do it himself, but he was showing them to make sure it should be. And on Erev Tisha B'Av, so some of the kids of my grandfather were there in the house, and he was
Last Tisha B'Av?
yeah, last Tisha B'Av. So ahead of Tisha B'Av, he was saying Torah, and like till Mamish the fast was coming in, and the Rebbe was telling them they need to eat before the fast, but he was going, he was telling them things. And later on, the Rebbe asked from the family if they remember something that he said. So they wrote a few things, and later on also they found in the Shemus that he's explaining it, and the Rebbe explained it too. Till when he was my grandfather says that Mamash in the last week he was a moya, so he did a bris for a 4-year-old child, and after the bris he came to the house and he told the Lubavitch that he just made a bris. So the Lubavitch started away, he was amazed and said like it's such a big schus for you to make a bris for a 4-year-old, and he started to read with the Kabbalah and the number 4 Milo, and then he was giving all Torah about the connection from 4 with the bris, and he didn't remember the whole Torah because but he told him whatever he remembered he wrote it up. I'll just finish now with one thing. Like when he was, my grandfather came to the Rebbe for Tisha Tavshin Tazayin. The first time, 1955. Before that, as from the first year in Tavshin Yud, the Rebbe was sending letters. He's asking him like if he can write what he remembers, and if he remembers when was his talkus, what was before, how was the thing. One other thing, the Rebbe asked him if he can send him the shofar from his father. What was it? The Yitzchak passed away, Chof. So Chassidim were around the house, were there at the time of the Istalkus, and then they needed to find a place. So my grandfather went in the morning and to the Beis HaChaim, and then it was at the edge of the Beis HaChaim, of the Jewish cemetery, and he bought 6 places. Today, unfortunately, it's later on became like also not far from the Goyim, and became like didn't keep it as a Jewish place, but around them, Jews were
a very small section.
Yeah. So
6 graves, that's it.
But I don't know, today you can't see whatever, who is what, but it could be later on they also buried around them, but there were Jews around them. And the next days, he got a message that they're looking after him. They knew exactly, they wrote down who exactly was participating in the Levaya. They made a big Levaya the way it is supposed to be. They carried the Oren until the place. But they wrote down who was involved in anything. So my grandfather got a message already from someone that they're looking for him. So I don't remember now exactly the details. Someone came in, they stopped him once, and then they freed him, and then he understood that he was taken away, and then he was able to go out, ran away or something, but then he realized that he has to go away run away from the city
Because of the funeral.
because of he was involved. So before he took my grandmother with him and took tickets to travel to Moscow, towards Moscow. Before he went to Rebbe Tzimchana, and he told her, it was the end of he said, I don't know where I'm going to be for Rosh Hashanah, it's like a month away. If she can give him a shofar, one of the shofars that Rebbe Lubavitch had. So one of the shofars that Rebbe Lubavitch had was a shofar from the Marash. So she gave him this shofar. So he had this shofar, that year, the next 6 years he was with him, he was blowing it, whatever it was. So Tov she knew, the Rebbe writes them in a letter, if you can please send me the shofar from my father.
Time to give it back.
Yeah, time to give it back. So my grandfather was like, he was already in Mekusher, and he signed the guy, but he said, I want to have something for it. So Rebbe told him that he talked through his son. David Raskin said he gave David Raskin a handkerchief from Fidik Rebbe, and told him to send it to his father. But then that he has it ready for him to give. But then he said, while the shofar was still holding up, he said that the handkerchief it's shrinking. That said, like it's getting smaller.
The shofar.
The handkerchief. It was I don't know, like if you're not like till you decide to send it. But then it was someone who was in Eretz Yisrael, was a chask in the.
We cut it in pieces.
Something I don't know. And he sent it way before Tisha Yidalef. The Rebbe got it.
Get a stamp. And he said, "What is this?"
The Rebbe got it Tavshin Yidalef, and then he wrote my grandfather that he gave his son Enshiv, and then he asked him, "What should I do with that?" He said, "You're a Baltkiya, so you should use it to cover the shofar." That was it. Okay, l'chaim.
Chaim.
Fight broke out in
For Rabbi Olten, we'll continue. Another interesting point, and we said it on Shabbos also, that I mentioned before that the Rebbe asked my grandfather to write exactly the details. When was his father installed? When was his status? There's in Lubavitch, it used to come out in the early 40s. So after the Lubavitch passed away, the Frierdiker Rebbe wrote a page or more, I think a page now, of how do you call it? Biography or like Zichron,
memoirs.
Memoirs.
The obituary.
Huh?
Yeah, there you go. That's the word. Yeah, I guess when somebody dies, they think you're right to the
About his mechuten, but it's very, very nice thing. Frierdiker wrote it, but then they didn't know exactly the date of the Lubavitch Gestalkus. They wrote that he passed away on Chof Gimel of. Later on, they got the right date.
How much later? Years later?
No, I think that year.
Yeah, that thing. But the Rebbe, first of all, the Rebbe said Shiva whenever he got the message. It wasn't right away. It was a shmo. I think
it was
no, it wasn't a shmo, but it was not in the first dates.
Did he pass away what year again?
Tavshindan from 1944. So, but the Rebbe for years had debate, like it wasn't clear. But the Rebbe he had the doubt, like when is the exact time of the Istalkus? And he wrote Tavshin Yurwer. He wrote a letter to Soil. He asked people to find out. He told people also to find out from Meseder Yankivis Raskin task if he remembers exactly when and what. But when he came to Yechidus, to the Rebbe in 1955, and then in Elul, during Tisha, so the Rebbe asked him again if he can tell him what was before the Istalkus, what was the last time, what does he remember.
But how come if Tavshin Zayin came to take his mother?
Okay. The Rebbe told him when he was like he was he didn't write the Rebbe, he didn't ask the Rebbe, but it was obvious, like something like, why are you asking me? When he met his mother in Tavshin Zayin, 1947 in
Paris.
spring, he met his mother. He could have asked his mother, Ma, tell me exactly when was the Istalkus, when was. But he never asked his mother about it. And the Rebbe writes him. And the Rebbe told him also that he doesn't want to ask his mother because he doesn't want to remind her about the hard time that she went through. So the Rebbe was in a doubt for years.
Well, he could have alleviated it, but he didn't.
He could have asked his mother. Like his mother lived with his father all the time. but he wouldn't ask his mother because he didn't want to make her any tsar of reliving that time. So you see that the kibbutz that the Rebbe had, like chas v'shalom, not to make her mother feeling bad because memorize that time of the Istalkus.
When the Rebbe's brother passed away, the Rebbe
that was also
sent telegrams from England or whatever.
And there's a letter from the Rebbe Tzimchane. She was later on with corresponding with my grandfather through the years till she passed away. And one of the letters, she gives him regards from his sons, or in 17 was David Raskin, was Leib Raskin, later on the Shliach in Morocco. And she said, and then she writes, Yarich Hashem Yisborach Yamav Shnoisav Shel Bni Shlita, like may Hashem give long life to my son, my son. Akibud Eim Shelo Gdoilo B'Mido Yesera. Is Kibud Eim is
beyond measure.
Beyond measure, and she knew what she was writing. So this is like an example.
So they say she knew, but she didn't let them do it.
About her son. About her son, there's people who were close said that she was putting up a show. Also, the Rebbe didn't want to tell her. She also didn't want to tell him that she knows. But they played that game until the. It's interesting when the Rebbe there's a video. There was once the Gem gave out the thing that Professor Rosenbaum. He was a big mathematician. The Rebbe gave him the folder, like the note from his brother, and he asked him to work on it. The Rebbe tells them, I have from my brother, he was not with us for 10 years. Rebbe told him about 10 years is passed away, since he passed away. This was in the 70s.
It's Tash Lamed Hey.
Lamed Hey. The Rebbe counted from Tavshin Chafim, from when his mother passed away, till that time when the Rebbe met this Rosenbaum, and he tells him about it was about 10 years that it's not with us. For the Rebbe, till his mother passed away, his brother did not pass away, because officially, I know if you can say again, that's speculation. But that's how the Rebbe says it. But it's like Rebbe said, it's not with us for 10 years, about 10 years.
So we can all learn to have a little bit more out there. You would have a little bit more.
Yeah, we can learn a lot from the Rebbe. Okay, so there's all
Chaim. Yesterday's parsha, the last pasuk, it says that the fear of the goyim will be, when you come to Eretz Yisrael, the fear of the goyim will be on all the people. So Alter Rebbe in Perek Chafei of Tanya asks if the Moshe Rabbeinu is promising the Yidden that they're going to be in Eretz Yisrael protected by Hashem, and they won't have to be worried about the goyim. So then why did Moshe Rabbeinu also teach about Mesiras Nefesh, about Kiddush Hashem, in the same parsha? We learned last week's parsha, or 2 weeks ago, Veschanim, we learned Shema. We learned that the mitzvah of Shema is the Filu Neitos Nafshecha, that even if you have to have Mesiras Nefesh, what do you have to have Mesiras Nefesh for? If the Goyim are gonna be afraid to touch you. So Alter Rebbe answers that Mesiras Nefesh, the koyach of Mesiras Nefesh is what protects the Yid, is what can drive a Yid to learn Torah mitzvahs. The Alter Rebbe is Meirich, and this is like the summary or the conclusion of Perek Chesed Perek Chafei of Tanya. The Alter Rebbe explains that if a Yid would remember the koyach of Kiddush Hashem, then that would itself would help you, drive you to be careful to do all of Torah mitzvahs. Now, it's not pshat that Alter Rebbe is saying, like, think about this, like the theoretical concept of Kiddush Hashem. Alter Rebbe is saying that every single yid has the koyach of Mesiras Nefesh. Every single yid has the koyach of Kiddush Hashem. And so if you tap into that koyach of Mesiras Nefesh that you have, then that will empower you to be able to do Torah mitzvahs. In other words, it's not like like theoretically speaking, if I would be in a situation and have to go on Mesiras Nefesh, I would do it, so now I should also do it. Like, it's like the Pshat and Tanya. It's almost like after I was telling you got to make a calculation. What would you do if you were in such a situation? You'd go on Mesiras Nefesh, so go on Mesiras Nefesh now to fight the Yetzer Hara. But the way Chassidus sees everything is an Inyan Amiti, it's a MS. It's not Pshat that it's a theory, but there's a Koyach of Mesiras Nefesh that Yid has. The Koyach of Mesiras Nefesh that Yid has is there whether we're put to the test or not. That's all that I was saying. That even though the Yidden are going to Eretz Yisrael, they're not going to need to actually use this Koyach HaMesiras Nefesh Mamish, but that Koyach HaMesiras Nefesh exists in the Yid. That Koyach HaMesiras Nefesh is there regardless if you have to use it or not. And therefore the Alter Rebbe says, tap into that Koyach, tap into that energy that you have within you. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's a maimed from a maimed of Chof, where the Rebbe says that even though the koyach HaMesiras Nefesh is by every single yid, but you can't compare it to a person who uses the Pel Mamish. In other words, the koyach HaMesiras Nefesh from Pshat and Tanya means koyach HaMesiras Nefesh is every yid has, and every yid who learns Perikut Chesed Chafei, uses the Alter Rebbe's method to be misgaber al yetzer. So then they're using the koyach HaMesiras Nefesh. But Afal Pikein, it's not the same. It's a person who actually uses it to the Pel Mamish. And this is what the Rebbe, in other words, we know about the Rebbe's Kibbud Aveim, from the way the Rebbe treated his mother and visited her every day. That's the Gashmis of how the Rebbe did the Kibbud Aveim for his mother, we know. But the of part of it, we also know from the way the Rebbe spoke about his father, the way the Rebbe taught about the Rebbe, from when the Svarim came, the Rebbe, every single Shabbos, the Seder by the Farbrengen, until the Rebbe passed away, the Rebbe's Farbrengens are very systematic, very organized. You look in the 60s, in the 70s, the Farbrengens have a very structured, very consistently structured. The first sikha, the Rebbe would like an opening on the topic of why there's a Farbrengen. The Rebbe is a Farbrengen every Shabbos. So Shabbos was usually Farbrengen in those years was because it was a special Shabbos. So the first sikha is what's special Shabbos, Shabbos Avarchim. It's like what's the Shabbos Avarchim? What's the topic? And then after two sikhas or so, if there's a maimer, then the Rebbe said the Rebbe would teach Rashi. And a piece of Lekutei Levi Yitzchak from his father, who was Pirkei Avos in the summer. Then when the Rebbe started Luchos Beis Abchira, then the Rebbe started Rambam, was a piece of Rambam. And the Rebbe had a unique way of doing it, which was ask all the questions in one sikha. Instead of saying, okay, we chazer a sikha, you say, okay, you can speak a Rashi, a Rambam, whatever it is. But the Rebbe, in one sikha, we're going to learn this Rashi, here are all the questions. We'll get to the answers later. Pirkei Avos, here's all the questions. Kutul Levi Yitzchak, here's all the questions. And then in the next sikha, the Rebbe would go answer all the questions also. Now, sometimes, like the Rebbe was very fond of doing, he would connect them all together, all on one topic, and all, weave in and out between them.
So one answer answers all the questions.
No, that's a separate, that the Rebbe liked, that the Rebbe actually spoke about on the first Chof, the Rebbe spoke about that idea. The Rebbe said, the Rebbe said to see him on Mesechus Kedushin, he said that the Rebbe asked a lot of questions. The Rebbe said that if you have one answer that answers all your questions, you hit gold. But if you have to answer each question independently, it could be you're right, but you don't know. So that's why you see the Rebbe's shita is that you have to have one question or one concept that changes, it gives you a whole new perspective. It answers all the questions, and you know that you're right. But in any case, the Rebbe, sometimes they were connected. The Rashi and the Rambam didn't really have what to do with each other, but the way the Rebbe explained it, to bring it on like one topic or one thought that connects them. But many times not. It's just Rashi, it's the Rebbe answered each one, going through one to the other, explaining each one. But the Rebbe spent every Shabbos until after the Rebbe passed away. The Rebbe changed the styles of Farbrengen, and the Rebbe stopped this system. But the Rebbe, every Shabbos, something from the Rebbe's father. The Rebbe sang his niggin. all the time, especially in the later years that I was saying, even on a kafis, the Rebbe generally, we have the Rebbe's hakafis niggin for Simchas Torah. In the last years, the Rebbe himself started, if the Eilim is going to start singing hakafis niggin for the Rebbe, they would say the Rebbe's hakafis niggin. But the Rebbe himself, they were saying whatever you want, right? So the Rebbe, the last years, the Rebbe started, not all the time, but many of the hakafis, so the Rebbe's hakafis, the Rebbe started his father's niggin. At the end of Farbrengen, the Rebbe, and they used to give out mashka at the end of Farbrengen for Farbrengens. So for many times, they used to sing Harikesi Lachem Bracha, which is give a bracha, Keshel Bracha. They would sing Harikesi Lachem Bracha. And then the last 4 or 5 years, the Rebbe switched it out. At the end, after giving out mashka, the Rebbe started his father's niggin. It was very. In other words, the Rebbe's what? Niggin of Sameach. It was like a what? Achi Sameach. The most of it.
What was the first niggin?
Harikesi Lachem Bracha.
That was the Rebbe's Chakava niggin?
No, there was hakafis niggin.
Yeah.
No, I'm not that. That's what they sang by the Rebbe's hakafis. That was the hakafis thing. The Rebbe's hakafis thing. I'm not sure how it became the Rebbe's hakafis thing.
Then they shifted to the
Rebbe shifted. The Rebbe started, not shifted. The Rebbe started hakafis. The Rebbe started his father's hakafis thing. It's not the shit. The people didn't change. The Rebbe
changed it.
The Rebbe, not every time. If you look at the Yuman and which times yes, which not, but it was and then there was then there were a few songs. The last hakafis, the very last hakafis, the Rebbe started with his father's niggin. There was sort of Ratz, then you had the Nikava, moved a few songs within the seventh hakafah or first hakafah. But point is that the Rebbe made his father very, very present in his Torah, Nigunim, and so the kibbutz. So by the Rebbe's mother, the kibbutz, so the Gashmi is going, taking care of her, and making sure she's well. For his father's kibbutz, you saw that the Rebbe Pashat made his father very present by Chassidim, and you see that the Chassidim that were in America. Like in the early years, Chassidim were in America. To them, Chof was part of the culture. They would Farbrengen every year on Chof. It was part of the culture. The Rebbe's father was a part of it. Was the Chassidim that came out of Russia? The Rebbe's father was a prominent, Beis Harav and a prominent Rav, but he was one of the other Rabbanim. And there was a shluchim when they went to France. Tavshin Chof Beis, the Rebbe sent Bachram shluchim to France. And when it came Chafov, there was no Farbrengen, but the people, the burned water, they came out of Russia. They didn't know what hit them. They didn't know what was going on. And they didn't, there was no Farbrengen. It was a very Lebedik night there. And then, Geshem the Gorelik, who's, Chafov was by him a very big, he went to the Rebbe every year on Chafov.
He was also in Almata.
He was Almata also with the Rebbe's father. So he, I don't know if that year he couldn't get to New York or on his way to New York. He stopped the first night. As in Lev Chafov, he came to Brunwa, and Shimka Lazar, who was one of the shluchim that the Rebbe sent to Brunwa, he says they were sitting over there, they were all mad, there was a whole fight going on about Chafov, because these guys are like, what do you got? Like, they didn't understand what's happening. I said, all of a sudden they see Geshem coming in, he says their eyes lit up, they left their food, they went to Farbrengen with him, they sat the whole night in Farbrengen with him. So the Rebbe made his father front and center of that's the Rebbe's kibbutz. That's what the Rebbe's what the Rebbe put into who we are. What?
We're here tonight.
Yeah, that's right. And like our Moshe began, that the Rebbe said that it's a schus and a chei for him to ask us to participate. But the Nakud is what the Rebbe has been saying, that Mesiris Nefesh is that ultimately. We talk about Mesiris Nefesh. So generally, they spoke about the Friedrich Rebbe's Mesiris Nefesh. But the Friedrich Rebbe made it out alive when he came to America. So the Friedrich Rebbe suffered Mesiris Nefesh. But the Rebbe didn't. The Rebbe considered the Rebbe's father passing in Galus. He passed away because he was sick, right? But the Rebbe considered it Mesiris Nefesh, that he died in Almata because of the Galus and Galus. In other words, as far not Beruchnis, I'm saying Begashmis. Begashmis, the Rebbe saw his father's passing Mesiris Nefesh Mamish. And so and as far as when the Rebbe speaks about Mesiris Nefesh, so of course Yud Beis Tammuz, yes, is the Nikud Yud Beis Tammuz Mesiris Nefesh, but Mesiris Nefesh B'Poel. So the Rebbe says a Kiddush Hashem B'Poel is a much higher madrega than just tapping into the Keich of Kiddush Hashem. That the Rebbe associates with Chof. That's the Aved of Chof and the Rebbe's father. And if you look in many of the sichos of Chof, that's what the Nekuda that the Rebbe speaks about is the bittul of Mesiris Nefesh, the bittul of a Yid, the Mesiris Nefesh that we have to learn. That's the Aved of Chof, the bittul to Eibishter ad kedei Mesiris Nefesh. So, in other words, Yud Beis Tammuz, the Rebbe's Nekuda is afatzas hayadus ad kedei Mesiris Nefesh. In other words, in Yud Beis Tammuz, the Rebbe's Zikr Nekuda is that we have to do afatzas mayonis, afatzas hayadus ad kedei Mesiris Nefesh. That's what Yud Beis Tammuz is. With Chof, it's not about afatzas mayonis, it's not about Satera, it's about Mesiris Nefesh, about Kiddush Hashem, bittul. We spoke a lot about the carbon eitzim, about the wood, because that's the Chof. The Gemara speaks about carbon eitzim, and the shir that we gave the other week. That this idea of the bittul that the eitzim express, the nikud of Chof is the Mesiris Nefesh B'Poel for the Eibishter. So L'chaim. Of course, we know that Chassidus doesn't expect us to have Mesiris Nefesh B'Poel mamish in the sense of Chas V'Sholom after giving our life up. That's not what we're asking for. That's not what we're asked of. What we are asked is the bittul, the Mesiris Nefesh B'Saratzen that we have, and that the Rebbe says when we accomplish that, that's the Ebesin.
Just a quick thought on what you're saying, because we're learning in Elul, this is a Dodi V'Dodi Li, the Rebbe says very clearly that a Jew has to also have the avoda of V'Dodi Li, Melamayla Lamata in his own avoda. So I'm trying to think, wait, how do you tell a Yid to have a avoda Melamayla Lamata? You knock it down here, and the Rebbe makes it very clear. We have, you're living with the Mesiris Nefesh in a sense. To me, that would represent the Lamaila Lamata type of a thing. The Rebbe brought that up. Go beyond your Agbolas, Don't just live with the Chatchila River type of approach to Yiddishkeit.
I mentioned yesterday that in Tafshin Lamed Tes, there is a scene on Chof, also like scary expressions over there. When speaking about this Nekuda, when they're saying that a lot of tzaddikim that I mentioned, they left Russia to save themselves. And they left their Talmidim and everything to whatever. And it says to the point, it's you have it only there. It says even the Friedrich Rebbe, he left it. He left Russia, right? But he was forced. He didn't. But Paul Mamash, he left, and the Rebbe, and his father, he's the one that he has the option to leave, but he didn't want to leave. He stayed there. That's the way to do. And it says the Friedrich Rebbe, kind of like excusing the Friedrich Rebbe, he was also Moisem Nefesh for the Yidden in America.
No, the Emerson Mesiris Nefesh was.
But the Emes, his father, he's the one. How can you leave your Talmidim? How can you save your life? And Rebbe was speaking about the other tzaddikim, and he was like mamash giving them, like all this whatever who left. But mamash stressing his father that he the one that mamash that's it. Like really, and even mentioned the Finniker. It's kind of.
על מה אתה אומר? לא, במלחמה ברחו למזרח לאסיה, למזרח. ברחו מהמלחמה, אז הלכו לשם. הוא היה שם בגלל ששלחו אותו בגלות, אבל האחרים הלכו לשם בגלל להיות
הגרמנים.
זה למה אבא שלה היה שם?
אבא שלה היה שם, כי לא היה שלחו אותו לגלות שם. לא, פידיקבר לא שלחו, פידיקבר היה בקסטרמה.
פידיקבר שלחו מהמדינה.
קטנה ליד
מקום עכשיו אמרת.
על מעתה, בקזחסטן.
באתי בשני המקומות. נשמע לי אותו דבר.
ברוסיה.
זה רוסיה.
I was never there. I never had a.
Remember, tzaddikim, we went a lot.
It's not one of them.
That's what he says.
Shkoya. Sure.
What's the last one?
Yeah, I don't know.
Go to a less formal one.